Did you know that approximately 42% of endangered species are at risk by invasive species? Invasive species is a non native species in an environment that is outcompeting another environment, uh, animals or organisms in the particular area. According to a conservation union in 2017, invasive species on are the second most significant threat to biodiversity after habitat loss. This is really important because invasive species are a big problem in the U.S. and in other countries all over the world. They are outcompeting the predators and also the competitors in their area, which is a very big problem altogether. And my credibility talking to you is that I'm a fisherman and I have seen firsthand the effects that invasive species can have on an environment and what the problems can be. So invasive species need to be stopped because they destroy ecosystems and can destroy an economy in the local economy. So we're going to talk about the causes, what causes them to spread, the effects that they can have on an environment, an ecosystem, or an economy, and some solutions or problems with an example. So now we're going to go to what causes the invasive species to spread. So one of the big ones is human contact all around the world, which is a really big one. According to ESA, which has been studying the effects of invasive species on the population of human populations, it was written in 2008. The increased connectivity of the global human population has amplified the frequency and effect of biological invasion and disease outbreaks. So this means that pretty much that the more people communicate with each other and the more that we connect with each other, it's really causing invasive species to spread more rapidly and really causing environments and ecosystems to change dramatically in a short amount of time, which is a really big problem. Another reason is trade. According to ESA, which has been studying the effects of these for many years now, and this was in 2008 again, new trade routes among previously disconnected countries, as well as enhanced transportation technologies, have really played a role in the invasive species. So pretty much the more trade goes on, the more species are going to go back and forth into different environments and different ecosystems that can and that change them dramatically throughout the area. So now that we've talked about some of the causes them to spread the invasive species, we're going to go into a little bit of detail about the effects that they have on the environment. So we're going to talk about the effects they can have on the environment and also the economy as a whole. According to Green Tumble, who has been studying what the effects of invasive species have on an environment and economy, in 2019, with no natural predators, invasive species can proliferate and cause a lot of ecological and economic damage where they have invaded. So there's a big problem between invasive species. Some invasive species do not thrive in their environment, which is a good thing and sometimes a bad thing. I'll explain. But sometimes they flourish, which can be a bad thing. But some invasive species are considered good to the environment. They help balance it out. And sometimes it can cause a dramatic change in the environment that is not good for the surrounding area and can also cause a lot more problems than it fixes. So, according to Green Tumble in 2019, when ecosystems are negatively impacted by invasive species, tourism may also suffer, such as the invasive equus species that threaten the health and vitality of the Great Lakes region in the U.S. So it not only affects the ecosystem around them, but it also affects the economy around them. It can cause job layoffs because tourism is not wanting to go there because they're wanting to see the native species to that area because that's the reason they went there. They wanted to see the wildlife, and now that invasive species have come in, there's no animals native animals left there to look at. So we have talked about some of the effects that it can have on an environment and also an economy. We're going to go into a little bit of some solutions to help fix this. So a solution is to help monitor the situation, is to pretty much just to report if you see like an animal out in the woods, to report that to Wildlife Fish and Game, and if there is something out of the ordinary there, it can really make their job easier without like with them not being able to find it or something like that. Uh, Also, is the Wildlife and Fish and Game would do like checks on the lakes and rivers to see what's going on and like see what people are catching around them. Also to do like trail walks to see what plants and organisms are living there. So an example of this invasive species would be Asian carp. And one way we can help is try to help like identify what Asian carp are. So that's a big one, and that's one of the main ways to do this. Also, put fish back. If you caught a fish in a certain area, put the fish back to where you found it, instead of putting it like somewhere else in a different lake. Um, Also, to empty live wells like out of your watercraft, so that way organisms do not spread as easily and or as fast. And it takes more than just 3 or 4 people. It takes a whole local community, and it might save your local resources in the long run. So I have talked to you how to invasive species need to be stopped, and also ways to do this. So we have gone over how what causes them, what effects they can have on the environment, what solutions or problems what we can do to help it. I hope this will help you make better decisions in the long run with invasive species.